SCP-035, Object Class Keter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-035 is to be kept within an hermetically sealed glass case, no fewer than 10 centimeters 4 inches thick. This case is to be contained within steel, iron, and lead shielded rooms at all times. Doors are to be triple locked at all times, with the exception of the following personnel in or out. No fewer than 2 armed guards are to be positioned at all times. Guards must remain outside of all times and are allowed within the containment room under any circumstances. Trained psychologist is to remain on site at all times. Research personnel are not to touch SCP-035 at any time. SCP-035 must be moved to a new sealed case every 2 weeks. The previous case must be disposed of via SCP-101. It shows no adverse reactions to SCP-035's corruption. Anyone who comes in contact with SCP-035 when it is in possession of a host is to be given immediate psychological evaluation. Description: SCP-035 appears to be a white porcelain comedy mask, although at times it was changed to tragedy. In these events, all existing visual records such as photographs, video footage, and even illustrations of SCP-035 automatically change to reflect its new appearance. Highly corrosive and degenerative vicious liquid constantly seeps from the eye and mouth holes of SCP-035. Anything coming into contact with the substance slowly decays over a period of time, depending on the material, until it's decayed completely into a pool of original containment. Glass seems to react the slowest to the effect of the item, hence the construction choice of its immediate container. Living organisms come into contact with the substance react much the same way, with no chance of recovery. Origin of the liquid is unknown. The liquid is only visible from the front and doesn't emerge or is even visible from the other side. Subjects within 1.5 to 2 meters, 5 to 6 feet of SCP-035 or in visual contact with it experience strong urge to put it on. When SCP-035 is placed in the face of an individual, an alternative brainwave pattern from SCP-035 overlaps that of the original host, effectively snuffing it out and causing brain death in the subject. The subject then claims to be a consciousness contained within SCP-035. The bodies of possessed subjects decay at highly accelerated rates, eventually becoming little more than a mummified corpse. Nevertheless, SCP-035 has demonstrated the ability to remain in cognitive control of the body, experiencing several structural damage, even as the subject's body literally decays to the point where motion is not mechanically possible. No effect is found to be had when placed in the face of an animal. Conversations with SCP-035 have proven to be informative. Researchers have learned that various details about the other SCP objects and history in general, as SCP-035 has been at many monumental events. SCP-035 displays highly intelligent and charismatic personality, being both amiable and flattering to all those who speak with it. SCP-035 is scored in the 99th percentile of all intelligence and aptitude tests administered to it and appears to have photographic memory. However, psychological analysis has discovered SCP-035 possesses a highly manipulative nature, capable of forcing sudden and profound changes to interviewers' psychological state. SCP-035 is proven to be highly sadistic, prompting some to commit suicide and transforming others into nearly mindless servants with linguistic persuasion alone. SCP-035 has stated that it is intimate knowledge of the working of the mind and implied that it could change anyone's view if given enough time. Additional SCP-035 was found in a sealed crypt in an abandoned house in Venice in 18 redacted. Addendum 035-01. SCP-035 has been found to be able to possess anything that has a humanoid shape, including mannequin corpses and statues. SCP-035 has been able to motivate all its movement, removing the need to expose live subjects to SCP-035. Still, anything it possesses inevitably decays into motionlessness. Addendum 2. SCP-035 has facilitated an escape attempt, conceiving several of the research staff to aid it in its bid for freedom. Insurrection failed. All staff have been in contact with SCP-035 have been terminated, and mandatory psychiatric evaluations have been implemented for all personnel coming in contact with SCP-035. Addendum 3. It has been determined that SCP-035 is capable of telepathy, whether or not it possesses a host, even penetrating the subconscious of others. Using knowledge it finds it to its advantage. Extreme caution is advised when choosing a subject to converse with SCP-035. Addendum 4. SCP-035 expressed interest in other SCPs, most notably SCP-4715 and SCP-682. Dr. Redacted has expressed worry that should SCP-035 bond with either their regenerative qualities, would negate its corruption and give it permanent host. Addendum 5. After several more escape attempts, after reviewing SCP-035's incident report, High Command is ordered that it be permanently sealed within the facility and prohibited from being allowed to any more hosts. Several personnel protested against this, with some even erupting into violence. As a direct result, all personnel who have come into contact with SCP-035 have been terminated. Going forward, all personnel that deal with SCP-034 are to be rotated frequently. Contact should be limited, even in the dormant state, as little as possible. Addendum 6. Personnel within 10 meters of SCP-035 has recently reported feeling uneasy and stating that they could hear unintelligible whispering. Several others have suffered from severe migraines. The object has been monitored, but there's no change in dormant behavior and no sounds have been recorded. The motion to reinstate SCP-035's host privileges have been brought up once more, only on a temporary basis to discover these new changes in object behaviors. Denied. Addendum 7. The walls of SCP-035's contained cell suddenly began secreting a black substance. Testing on the substance has revealed it to be human blood, although highly contaminated with several foreign and unknown agents. The substance is corrosive, having a pH of 0.5. Prolonged exposure to the walls proven to be detrimental to their structural integrity. More notably, it seems to be forming patterns in the walls. Several segments seem to paraphrase in various languages including Italian, Latin, Greek, and Sanskrit. Translation is pending. Other segments appear to be diagrams depicting ritualistic sacrifice and mutilation, offering the arcane benefit of the person committing them. Several staff members have been shocked to look at these notes that all the sacrifices bear an uncanny resemblance to various personnel of their loved ones, often in conflicting positions. Researchers, while in the room examining these newly formed patterns, have complained of hearing loud whispering, high-pitched and unnerved laughter at irregular intervals. Personnel in the sector working daily nearly around SCP-035's containment itself suffered catastrophic moral damage, with an all-time high in suicide rates of staff in that area, whether or not they have had contact with SCP-035. The change in SCP-035's dormant behavior is regarding its contained glass case. Degraduation of the case is increased in high degree, enough that the glass will occasionally shatter, causing a wide dispersal of SCP-035's containment. This occurs often at the most inopportune times, as far as resulting in 6 casualties and 3 fatalities of both research and cleanup staff. Addendum 8. In light of the mass suicide and homicide, the members of the research team tasked with translating the passages garnered from SCP-035's containment cell, the moral damage in the area, and general loss of staff dealing with SCP-035 to either death or insanity. It has been decided to coat the inner and outer walls of its containment cell with SCP-148, which has proved well in containment of SCP-132. See Document 132-01, in order to hopefully block out the high levels of negativity being emitted from SCP-035. Addendum 9. The use of SCP-148 has worked well, causing moral and suicide rates to return to near pre-SCP-035 rates. However, the material appears to facilitate the negativity within the cell, causing veritable greenhouse effect inside. Personnel inside the cell stated that they have a very heavy sense of dread, fear, anger, and general depression, as well as hearing constant, nearly inaudible whispering upon immediate entry. A prolonged stay causes severe migraines, suicidal tendencies, and heavy hemorrhaging of blood vessels around the eyes and inside the mouth and nose. Generally, hostility to others and the whispering increases, almost deafening volumes and interselected by constant mocking laughter. Exposure of more than 3 hours inadvertently results in the subject falling into a deep psychosis and attempting to harm themselves or others. Most spoke in Latin or Greek, despite the fact that several did not previously know how to speak said languages beforehand. The presence of blood in both word and diagram formations has increased disproportionately. The walls become cluttered and the formations begin to overlap each other. The substance has proven to be both difficult to clean and even more corrosive than was originally reported. The pH of roughly 2.4 general estimate gives it the current walls a life of 2 months before they will need replacement. It's become gradually more and more difficult to contain SCP-035, and the debate to reinstate its host privileges have once again came up. Denied. Addendum 10. The walls, ceiling, and floor of SCP-035's containment cell have been completely saturated in blood. All personnel entering and guarding the area must wear full hazmat protection gear. Constant cleaning efforts are being instated. Addendum 11. The magnitude, intensity, and recurrence of phenomenon that occurred within SCP-035's containment cell have increased to an alarming degree. The cell door has been known to come locked of its own accord while personnel are inside and unable to be opened for a period of time. Appendages form out of the larger puddles of blood and often attempt to grab or harm personnel near them. Blurry apparitions have started appearing to staff. Electronic devices no longer work inside the cell, and the liquid cannot be turned on. Light cannot be turned on. Though there is no physical reason why it does not work, forcing those entering to use non-electric based light sources. Cleaning the measures are having no discernible effect on the cell, and the walls are degrading at a very high rate, forcing them to be replaced within a week at best. Although the blood makes it nearly impossible to properly achieve this, SCP-035 may have been moved to a new cell entirely, with the old one sealed off and disengaged from the rest of the facility.